And finally, we are at Spa, one of our favorite tracks all time. Definitely in sim racing, but um, it's a great, just all time racetrack. Quite deadly at times, but all time great.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get into the history of the track here in a second, but yeah, definitely one of my favorite tracks, at least to drive. I think in recent years there's been some controversy and some letdown tied to Spa to the point where people kind of question whether it deserves its place on the calendar. I think it's been added as one of those tracks that's now on rotation. Like I don't think we get Spa in 2027. Um,
I remember
so
talking about that last year.
yeah.
Weather's been a big factor the last few years, so hopefully we get
Safety and
a little bit
weather
better.
are a big thing. But I think as far as our experience, you and I, with sim racing and stuff, I think the driving style is really fun. It's a super long lap. Um, and, a lot of elevation change and overtaking zones. And so there's just a lot of dynamic changes and unique conditions and positions that you find yourself in as you're racing around this track. So it's a good
Yeah, I
time.
mean it's like 7 point something kilometers. I can't remember the exact number. I was brought it up a little bit today, but um, most people don't know Kyle has a lot more time on the wheel than I do. So sim racing, most tracks he can smoke me. We have a lot of fun with it. Spa is one that I feel like I could actually kind of keep up. Um, but high speed corners, like I said, a lot of overtaking zones. I am a big fan of high speed corners, but it has a couple technical ones in there, but it's a good time.
That's where
Eau
I always get you.
Rouge,
Sector 2. You got
Eau
me sector
Rouge
1.
is Eau Rouge and a sector one is definitely my specialty. Sector two, whatever turn number the big looping left hander is, my brain
Yeah.
just doesn't work on that one. I don't know what's wrong with it. Um, the
Well,
last few years though,
yeah. So going back, 2023, which is really when I started watching consistently every race. Um, that was a sprint year. And so we had, again, a heavy rainstorm, and that delayed the start of the sprint race. So they only got 11 laps in a sprint. Of course, this was 2023, so as expected, Max dominated that. And then on Sunday, Max, I can't remember if he had a grid penalty or something, but started P6,
I
and
believe it
then
was a grid penalty.
fought his way to P1. Any guesses as to who else was on that podium? 2023.
2023 absolutely dominated.
Think about that car.
I mean, Checo
Checo P2.
and who's good that year? Leclerc.
You got it.
No, I
Nailed it.
nailed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Leclerc. Ferrari had a good start to
It's
2023.
really
And
hard
so
to not say
Leclerc
one
was,
Mercedes, but
yeah. No, this was, beginning, still kind of beginning of ground effect era, really, and Mercedes was all over the place. So, yeah, no, you nailed it. 2024, no sprint race. And then on during the race, this is where we got the Mr. Riverboat Gambler himself, George.
I think this is the one
Ad,
stop. I think this
yep,
is the one
advocating
stop.
for the one stop, made it happen, won the race, only to learn after the fact that his car didn't meet the weight limits. Speculation about whether that was due to tire wear or not, and so Lewis wound up inheriting that win after
I
George
do
was
remember that.
disqualified.
And
So
talking about it,
more,
it probably was the tires because it's fractions.
yeah.
Cool.
So we've got 2023 weather controversy, delayed start. 2024 disqualification of the race winner, and then 2025 was again a sprint weekend. Ultimately, that sprint race produced probably one of the best overtakes last season. This was the double overtake, with Max passing Piastri and Leclerc passing Norris going into turn 7 after the Kemmel Straight. Max wound up winning that race, and then knew that there was rain in the forecast for Sunday, dialed in his setup for rain. Of course, it was raining pre-race, and so the FIA decided we're going to delay the start here. Ultimately, it started to dry up, which deteriorated Max's advantage. He couldn't change the car because they're under parc fermé at that point. And so really the controversy was they screwed over Max pretty hard. And Oscar Piastri wound up winning that race.
I remember being very irritated about that.
Well, it was back-to-back because I believe there was controversy at the race prior to that where Max had a low downforce setup at Silverstone, and he did really well in qualifying. And then I don't remember how or why, but it didn't pan out for him in the race. So, yeah, as I said, weather and controversy kind of have marred the recent history of Spa, and people question its place on the calendar, but it's still one of my favorites. It's got its place in my heart.
All we could do is hope for a banger. And regardless, we're still going to drive it all the time.
Well, yeah. I did a little bit of driving on Spa in the new regulation cars on F126, the DLC. And yeah, I think the super clipping and battery is definitely going to be a thing here with the length of some of these straights. So getting into some of my predictions there a little bit later, I think that foreshadows which way I've leaned.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting with super clipping, but
yeah. Well, I thought it'd be fun to go back through and just touch on some of the big milestones of Spa's history. This is kind of one of the iconic F1 tracks as you look back through the history of the sport. Track started in 2021. It was basically like a compilation of this road that weaved through the forest and around farm towns. It was actually a much longer lap at the time and a lot more straights. During World War II, the Battle of the Bulge, a very famous World War II battle, was fought in the forest around this track. So that's pretty crazy.
You can still hear the echoes of the battle as you drive around the track.
Yeah, maybe that's why the river is red and they called it Eau Rouge. I don't know. In the 60s was really when these safety concerns started happening. More bad crashes were happening. 60s and 70s was a weird era for F1. They were trying a lot of new things and stuff, so I'm not surprised that there was some learning curves associated with that and realizing that safety is an issue. Ultimately, that led to a track redesign in 79, which is much closer to what we see here today. And then there's been numerous smaller updates since then to the track, most recently after some of the fatal accidents we've seen in the last 7-ish years at this point. So, yeah,
that
safety
brings us kind of into our safety with, like you said, Eau Rouge, Radion corner right above that. For anyone that doesn't know, Eau Rouge is kind of like a
uphill S kind of.
Yeah, sweeper uphill, completely blind pretty much. Radion corner's it's not really a sharp left, but it's a very high speed left.
You're on the limit because you're back and forth.
You're going and taking curb too, of all things. That could get kind of sketchy, and you can't see if someone crashed. So, 250 to 300 kilometers an hour. So we're moving.
How many bald eagles is that? It's like 180, 200 miles an hour, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
They updated in 2019 and 2023, added some gravel traps, better barriers to try to save some lives. Make sure
I guess
go.
The concern is not only grip, right? Particularly in weather when it's wet and you've got that high G-force sweeper turn. If the track does not have the grip, it's really easy to spin, hit the barrier. And the way that track was set up and built, the barriers are in such a place that the car tends to ricochet back onto the racing line. And that's why we've seen so many terrible accidents there, is a combination of this blind hill where drivers are going so fast and then this bouncing effect that sends people back onto the racing line. And so,
I think
we've seen some crashes.
Antoine crash was the bounce back.
Antoine Hubert was killed in 2019 as a result of a crash between two cars there, as well as I don't remember if it was an F3 driver or F4, but and excuse me if I butcher his name, but Delano Van Toff.
How I would have said
it. He was 2021, maybe 2023. I don't really remember. I forgot to write that down. But we've seen a number of other crashes that weren't fatal, but were still serious crashes. 7 of them from 85 all the way as recently as 2021 in Formula One with Lando crashing.
I honestly don't remember that one. Where was it on that track?
It was Radeon. Exactly what we've been talking about, where it was a single car accident. He just, lost grip. I think the weather was a factor and just spun off and, broke both front wheels and spun around. So
I'm sure if I watched the video, I'd probably remember.
Pretty bad crash.
I don't remember that. So, a little history for anyone that has watched Drive to Survive or really paid too much detail to it. Antoine is a really good friend of Pierre Gasly's, and crushing for him, obviously, and family and everyone when that happened. It scares all the race drivers. It's always interesting going into a race after that.
He brings flowers there every year, and there's the viral clip of Lewis, who was in the middle of an interview when the crash happened and saw it on the monitors, and you can see his live reaction to the crash, and he doesn't say anything other than like, I hope he's okay, but you can visibly see how concerned Lewis was, knowing that it was that serious. So yeah, safety is a serious concern around here.
Yeah, I got the chills because I know what interview you're talking about. It's pretty cool to see them all come together every year and honor him. I just saw the pictures a couple hours ago of it this year. Yeah. Just all the drivers getting together in teams. So I'm sure they probably do something for Delano. I just know about the Antoine one a lot more. Let's get out of the sad stuff. Let's get into this year. Do you want to share your morning with us?
Yeah. So I live on the West Coast. Zach lives on the East Coast, and I am a late night person. I'm a night owl, so there are nights where I'm up late enough that Zach has already woken up and has texted me in the morning before I've gone to bed. Well, we had thunderstorms last night here, and my dog hates thunderstorms. She's a psychotic chocolate lab, and just climbs all over us and is panicked and stuff. So that was my 3 a.m. wake up experience from the dog, panting and climbing all over for me. And so that was about 2 hours of, trying to give her meds and get her calmed down and controlled. And so I'm exhausted, but at this point my brain is already awake and I can't fall back asleep. And like right as I lay back down to try to go back to sleep, I hear my phone ping, and it's Zach who's texting me, and he says, Lando got a 10-place grid penalty, and
that is it.
How can my morning get any worse? Right now?
Zero context. This is what happened.
I knew exactly what it was because I had done all the research about the Mercedes power unit upgrade that they were bringing, and I was wondering, like, well, does that include a new battery? Because that means a penalty for Lando, and I hadn't seen anything confirmed before I went to bed. But yeah, bad news: 10-place grid penalty for Lando. A little bit of a bummer for me because I think McLaren's got a relatively big upgrade package coming this weekend, and so I was optimistic about how that McLaren car was gonna look. But now he's gonna, fall back into the back half of the grid, and he's gonna have to fight his way back. So we'll see if he can do it.
Hopefully, he qualifies well and survives the shiz in the first 2 laps and gets out of that. I'm sure. I mean, I don't see him not finishing like top 10, to be honest.
I'm not going to spoil my predictions, but I have an opinion.
Speaking as a not McLaren fan, I'd be kind of surprised if he didn't finish top 10, unless he like qualities 10th or something. Then we're talking like a whole nother battle.
You never know. Are we going to see Aston out qualify Lando, or at least start ahead of him? I should say.
No.
No.
Got that far back. This unfortunately is not a sprint weekend because the Spa sprint weekends have turned out well. If you watch hot laps, we've kind of agreed that we'd like to see more. They're exciting. You get quality laps, a lot more bold overtakes, more danger.
More dynamic, right? You got less time to set up the car, and so you get a better mix-up of performance for the people that figured it out and the people that need to go back to the drawing board for the race. And so it's just more dynamic entertainment value. I understand why teams might not like it, but...
Yeah, it kind of throws a wrench in things for like engineers and mechanics and
Well, it also
the
impacts your
garage.
allocation.
Yeah,
They would have to
yeah.
give teams more allocation because they're putting more mileage on their components. So
I didn't really think about the allocation. Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's
you can
interesting
just
on
change the rule
sprint
though.
weekends. Yeah, yeah, it'd be pretty easy. I think it's interesting on sprint weekends that you start quality on mediums. I just always thought that was trippy. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
let's put a couple of banger laps in on mediums, and then, oh, by the way, now we're on softs.
it
Let's
seems
see what you got.
strategical from an entertainment value, just to make sure that you see that like consistent drop of lap times as you progress through the weekend. So I don't mind it.
All right, new idea for next season. Q3 is hards. Q2's mediums. Q1
That would be
softs.
wild if you go you go Q1 on softs.
Oh, sorry,
So the
sorry,
back
I said it
markers
backwards.
back markers have a faster lap time, and then Q3 is on hard. So you go soft, medium, hards.
Oh, yeah. What? I use all three. It doesn't matter.
Or you can
What?
use all
Oh,
three,
no.
but you can only use one per.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what
So
if
you
you
use the
get
strategy.
three, but
Your
you
front marker, you use your hards in Q1 because you think you've got the pace, but the back markers can use a soft.
Yeah, then you
and put
have
in a
like Racing
yeah,
Bulls and Alpine.
that's what you do.
Yeah,
That's
that would
what you
be.
do.
Okay, we're gonna talk to Formula One here. Let's just someone hit up homeboy that's never
idea.
getting. That's always gonna be elected. What's his name? We got
Yeah,
this. Ben.
BS. Mohammed bin
Salam.
Sulaiman. I don't know.
Ah, we're butchering that real bit. We'll just move on. That's not gonna work.
I'm too white.
5 straight mode zones. Oh man, 5 straight mode zones. We kind of touched super clipping.
Is
You
Max
have it
gonna
in our
survive?
notes.
5 straight. He's
Well-
got to close that rear wing
Well,
5 times.
I'm scared for him, but I do believe they will. We're gonna get the upgrades, but I do believe they're reverting to the wing they used in. Was that Monaco? Monaco. Which one had the little funky one? Yes, Monaco. The little like the mini wing in the middle.
Yeah, they want a low drag wing here. So Monaco is going to be high downforce, so they'll have a different
wing?
wing than that, but it will be a non Macarena style.
They're
wing, is the rumor.
reverting.
Yeah, and there's some controversy and rumors attached to that, which we'll get into here. But we can dive into it now. Actually, now that I think about it,
That's where we're at. Let's do it.
yeah. So the rumor is obviously Max has had 2 issues like this between qualifying it in Austria and his crash at Silverstone,
Some
where the
serious
rear
safety
wing
concerns.
isn't closing properly, and he's genuinely concerned about safety. And so it looks like Red Bull is going to revert back to the standard wing, while simultaneously it appears they are positioning and petitioning to the FIA to ban Macarena style wings, which Zach and I were
Tiny
talking
bit of
before.
backstory you're missing. The FIA is looking into Red Bull's Macarena wing. No, both, but heavily Red Bull's.
Well, I think they're looking to ban the type of wing based on the safety concerns that Red Bull has experienced. And so Ferrari's like, why are we caught up in this? Ours has been safe. We worked through this. They had this issue in testing. In Bahrain, they brought the Macarena style wing, and Leclerc was complaining about balance changes at the end of straight modes when the wing was flipping. Whether it's a driving style adjustment or a engineering adjustment or a mixture of the two, Ferrari has seemed to have found a way around this. Red Bull is currently on that learning curve and can't quite seem to figure it out. And so the drama here is Ferrari feeling like they're being punished unfairly because they've had this issue, figured it out, and Red Bull's basically saying like, well, we can't figure it out, so no one gets to do it. And my take is I side with Ferrari here. Like, Red Bull sucks to suck, man. Like, you got the money, spend the money, figure it out, or just shut up.
I side with Ferrari too, but this is definitely a Red Bull tactical thought. Like, okay, we're going to revert
Christian
our wing.
Horner written all over it.
It does, and he's not even there, which is crazy. This is definitely like Christian Horner rubbed off on all these guys. It's definitely of like, oh crap, we're going to lose some pace. Let's drag Ferrari down with us, which is kind of silly because it's like, hey, let's let Mercedes run away, which is kind of all the memes came out when this was going to get investigated. Like, oh, as soon as people close the gap on Mercedes, hey, let's change this now, which obviously is a bunch of crap. There's some, I mean, Max had 2 serious crashes, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like when Behrman had his crash about with the deployment. They had to make an adjustment right away because I mean, that was probably worse than Max's, debatably.
Yeah, but I think that's fairly applied to all cars, right? Like that impacts all cars, whereas Red Bull and Ferrari are currently the only ones with a Macarena wing.
No, I just meant like
McLaren's
they
rumored to
need to
bring
address
one.
the safety
Yeah.
aspect of it. So, I mean, I hope Ferrari doesn't get pulled down by it, but they are just kind of going with the flow though because they're bringing their Macarena Evo wing, so they have updated their wing for Spa. So they're basically like, we're safe.
Yeah, they're committed to this development track. It sounds like they're doing away with the little winglet on the exhaust. So they're going to lose downforce, but they're going to gain straight line speed by doing so. And so that paired with the new Evo wing, Ferrari is hoping to bridge the gap on their straight line speed on a track where that really matters, between the Kennel straight and Kemmel straight with M's, not N's, and then the back straight. So yeah, speed matters here. And then sounds like McLaren. We've said this for a few weekends in a row now, but it's rumored that McLaren's going to bring their. I visually, it is fun to see that wing spin around and do weird stuff. So, I hope it's not banned. I hope they figure it out, and I hope more teams do it. But yeah, McLaren's rumored to test it. We'll see if they run it. I'm doubtful they will, but.
I mean, they might because Lando has a 10-place grid penalty. Maybe they'll let him fart around with it a little bit. Yeah. And then.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not facing similar balance issues like Ferrari and Red Bull have learned.
I'm surprised Red Bull hasn't, because Red Bull's flips the opposite direction of Ferrari's. I'm surprised they haven't just tried to go the other direction because Red Bull's is
probably has
open.
To do with the mechanism. Is it?
Yeah, I'm saying like they should have just figured it out at this point, but.
Yep.
Who knows? It is more exciting to watch the wing flip up and down. I think everybody enjoys it.
It's like a little gimmick.
And to see the gaping hole when it's open is wild. Every time the Red Bull one's open, it reminds me of like the 2016 car because they had like the narrower wings, but the gap was like this big. It just has like a retro vibe to it.
I think it's either Alpine or Audi, or maybe it's both still. But their wing actually just sits like this and then folds flat. It doesn't, like a lot of teams do this and it opens up and there's a slot gap in between. That car just drops flat, and so there's probably 4 or 5 different approaches to the rear wing active aero component across the grid, which I think is cool. I think it's nice to have that difference in aero design across the sport. So
I agree, it's fun, and I'd be curious to see what we're looking at next year to see if there's like people stick with their design or if everyone starts to, go like if the Macarena one is it, if everyone goes to that. But I mean, you have top team like Mercedes, they're like, we're good. Or maybe they have one in development, who knows? They don't bring upgrades ever because they're so good. So we know nothing about Mercedes.
Well, I think it's a battle of who's got the advantage with aero and drag reduction, and who has the advantage of deployment, and who has the advantage of ICE horsepower. And I think that's what you see there is Merc has the deployment advantage, Ferrari has the drag advantage, but not the horsepower and deployment advantage, so they're slower.
And their turbo is this big.
Yeah, and then Red Bull has the raw horsepower, but neither the deployment and aero. They had it with the aero, but now they're struggling because they can't figure out how to go around a corner afterwards. So, yeah,
it will be interesting for sure.
Yeah, and we still don't know why Hadjar is not struggling, but I'm gonna set that over there and not touch it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
speculating.
I wish. Yeah, that's I mean, it could be a classic. They gave Max something different, like a very minor thing. That's I wasn't
I
sure. I
think
mean, we
Laurent
talked about it.
Mackey's putting an end to that.
It's probably driving style, to be honest. It's probably we just talked about this
Yep.
on the recap of last race that Max puts the car beyond the normal threshold of knife's edge. He that's why he's considered the best. Is he can do
Yeah.
or does stuff that other
He's
people maybe aren't willing to do or can't.
he's not knife's edge. He's razor blade edge.
Yeah, yeah. It's got to be driving style. I mean, I know Hadjar's pushing like all these other drivers, but it's got to be something. Weather forecast. It's gonna be medium air temps, cool air temps, rain, thunderstorms, light rain, cloudy,
It
rain,
starts warmer
foggy.
with a higher chance of rain. We're likely to see some rain tomorrow. But then as you go through the weekend, it gets cooler, but it also gets progressively more dry. There might be a little bit of fog in the morning, but it's expected to clear by the time the race starts. So we should get some dry racing, which I think is good news. At least on this track.
Normally I'm a fan of getting some rain, especially because, my boy's good in the rain. But since Spa has kind of been a downer, especially last year.
If we want a good Spa race, I think you got to hope for a dry race. That's been the trend.
I would like a semi-dry race. Like, give me some showers.
Just a little bit of strategy.
Some strategy, like.
Do you want the edging from Canada? It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. It never rains.
No, I'd rather get like a.
I've got a bold strategy, McLaren. Hear me out.
Let's just sprinkle a little rain on a couple turns somewhere in there. No, I mean realistically, we probably need a dry track for a good Spa.
I'm looking forward to our first rain race. I'm thankful it's not this one.
Whoa, getting ahead of yourself.
Tires, it's the middle of the range, C2, C3, C4. It's looking like it's likely a two-stop, but this track is a tire eater, and so we may see someone take a bold strategy and go for that three-stop. So we'll have to see.
Three-stop incoming, or Hamilton. I mean, if I was a betting man, which I am sometimes, that's the two I'd put my money on for a three-stop.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think, Lewis's win and ultimately what put him in the position to finish behind George in Silverstone, both of those really came down to tire strategy.
Yeah.
Those had a direct impact on how he finished. So that's just an odd trend that I've recognized with Lewis. Other updates for the weekend. No special liveries, at least not that we've seen.
Last time we did
have
this,
some
though,
helmets.
everything released the next day, which was super annoying. But
I think by putting this out on Thursday, I think we're a little bit safer.
I guess we did Wednesday last time. Yes.
Yeah, a couple special helmets. We got the Spider-Man helmet for Ocon. He's done Marvel stuff before with Deadpool, Wolverine stuff, so he seems to be into that. We've got the Spider-Man movie launching soon, so a little bit of collaboration there. Nico, he's German, but he's brought a special red helmet here to the Belgian GP. I like it. I think it's a fun little twist on his standard helmet. You and I both ranked his helmet pretty high up there.
I do enjoy his helmet, tier. Yes.
And I think the red looks pretty good too. Red and silver. So
it's fun on the car too. It's nice.
And then Max has a chrome orange lid, and so we weren't sure if this was the same helmet that he wound up using in Austria, or if it's just kind of similar. I don't have.
I believe it's the same one, and they didn't really put out updates, but I remember seeing something about he's going to have it for a couple races, so I think it's just the same one.
Yeah.
Cool looking helmet, nothing new.
Chrome I think he's had better helmets, but I think it's pretty good. So.
Yeah, he's had some bangers. This one's good.
Yeah. So we'll fly through upgrades here. A lot of people are bringing the low downforce, low drag setups. So expect to see some tweaks for that and cooling from most teams. I think McLaren is rumored to be one of the teams that's going to bring the biggest package here, although it's likely that they split that package up between Spa and Hungary. So what we ultimately wind up seeing across the weekend is to be determined. It's rumored there's going to be basically aero revisions across the whole car. Could be engine cover, side pods, front wing, like the whole nine. We don't really know. Again, they're rumored to bring the Macarena wing, at least for testing. We'll see if they dare to use it during the race. But then the big one is they're finally getting the Mercedes PU upgrade. So, like we talked about, that results in a new battery allocation for Lando, which triggers a grid penalty. I think the timing of this also basically confirms that at some point he's going to have another grid penalty to finish out the season. I don't think it's realistic that he goes the rest of the season with the same battery.
I think their timing's good though on such a high-speed track. Like now's the
Agreed.
time to take the power and go. Like if you want some points, you want to stay in the fight. Now's the time to give Lando the penalty. Hope he fights back. Give Piastri, power to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think their goal on this one should be to be above Red Bull. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how the comparison is with Ferrari.
I don't know.
But
But yeah, all of that should combine to mean higher straight line speed, improved deployment. There's some rumors out there that they're using a different gearing setup that is affecting their top speed as it relates to what Mercedes is able to extract out of the car. And then obviously they have different deployment mapping, and so we still are going to see some variation in how they wind up choosing when and where to use that battery. It's expected to be a pretty big step forward, but how big that step forward is relative to other teams, I think we're going to have to wait and see. And then I think there's going to be an asterisk on it based on Lando's grid penalty. But who knows? He may fly through the field and it just reveals what kind of pace
I think we'll see what it does in quality at least, because Lando's going to be, on a level playing field there. But yeah, if he's flying through the field and gets right back up there, then hey, the package worked. And like you said, relative to other teams, it could be hundredths, it could be 2/10, it could be a tenth, it could be, who knows
Lando
what
provisional pole, grid penalty starts P10. Not
I
happening.
wouldn't be mad about it, but it's
Not
not going to
happening.
happen. Ferrari aero package, floor, cooling, rear wing. There's talk of the Evo Macarena, which of course we like the flippy, so it's exciting. But that's it. So, I mean, I think all these major aero packages are basically just Spa.
Yeah.
Speed. I have
Yeah, we
speed.
talked about the exhaust winglet and some of the smaller tweaks there. I think Ferrari's focus right now is their straight line speed. They're trying to close the gap there. They've got the advantage of the corners.
They have Merc in the corners, but if they could get that straight line speed, they're looking pretty good.
Yep. Speaking of Merc, sounds like they are bringing a pretty big revision for Aero as well. Again, engine covers, side pods, some tweaks to the front suspension, which I suspect are aerodynamic in nature.
Or
Probably a result. Yeah, exactly. So you beat me to the punch, but yeah, I think they've learned something from Kimi's failure and are probably bringing an upgrade to that. The big expectation is, this is a power dependent track, and so Mercedes powered cars continue to have the deployment advantage on tracks like this. And so, maybe this is spoiling my predictions, but I think Mercedes is going to have a really good weekend.
I can agree. It's probably ruining both of our predictions, but we agree on that. Red Bull rear end stability, super surprising. Rear wing, we kind of talked about it. Suspension, floor edge.
This is the Don't Kill Max upgrade package.
Don't Kill Max on a very dangerous track package. We talked about it. Probably going back to a normal wing. We'll see what that looks like for them. I don't know if they'll do something interesting or just kind of something basic. We also put Hadjar to the side. Why has it not happened with Hadjar? we've kind of come to the conclusion driving style, or I think the other option's luck. Like he just
Yeah,
got the one
dumb
that
luck.
worked, dumb luck. So I mean, I'm sure he was kind of shaking a little bit of like, holy crap, this could happen to me. I did send. I don't think you've seen it, but there's an Instagram like meme video going around where Red Bull found the solution, which right away it caught me because I thought it was real for a second. And the second the video started, I'm like, oh, this is garbage. Where they had him pit stopping at every high speed corner or the end of every straight to adjust his wing and then let him finish the corner. And I was like, okay, that's
I saw one where Max was literally outside of the car holding it up like a gorilla, just running around the track. So there's some good memes flying out there for Red Bull. No, that tractor's painted metallic green this year. Audi, I don't think it's going to be anything. It's not going to be a revelation here, but they continue to chip away with consistent upgrades and look to be slowly improving the car. So I think we can expect to see a little bit of a bump of pace for them relative to those around them. And then there's a whole host of people that are basically doing nothing to very little. So Alpine, their bigger package is rumored to come in Hungary. Aston, again, nothing. I'm hearing Hungary, potentially even Zandvoort for the new Honda engine. So this continues to get pushed out for Aston, which is a major concern for them. I think at a circuit like this where power is important, they continue to not bring upgrades. This may be one of their worst weekends of the season. We may see that Aston get lapped 15 laps into this race. Like, they're going to look pretty bad this weekend.
Yeah. Testing weekend.
Yeah. Cadillac, again, some small aero stuff, probably circuit dependent stuff, but they did bring a package recently, and so we'll see what they decide to upgrade. And then it was a little unclear from the research that I had done whether or not they actually took the Ferrari power unit upgrade at Silverstone, whether they ran it or not. So if it turns out that they did not run that in Silverstone, they would run it here in Spa, which again might be a wise choice at a power hungry circuit. So Cadillac may have a surprise, but it's just a rumor at this point, nothing confirmed. Haas has done nothing, and Williams has done nothing. Their big package is going to have to wait until Baku, and we've talked about this before. They're still really focused about weight over there.
Oh, Williams. We had high hopes.
Did we? I think you and I both really liked James
Vowles.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked his
mythology. James Yomi soda.
Helicopter.
No one. We don't have time for that story. We don't have time for that story.
I stole Alex that the other day. That's great.
Should we get into predictions?
Yeah. Vowles is great. I like his entry to the team and
hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Everything for the next 2 years, and then we will have a crap car, the new Rex.
Didn't go well. Talked a big game, fell on its face.
Predictions. I'm up 2-0 after week 1, so we're figuring this out.
Yeah, I had some X factors go sideways on me. And we're going to introduce a new component here this week, right? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we're not going to call it the same, obviously, and we are stealing it from P1 Podcast because they're awesome, and I like the thought of it. But we will do a randomly generalized number 4 through 22, so we can't mix up with our podium predictions. And we will guess whatever, if it's P7, we will guess what driver we believe is going to finish P7. Whoever is closest after the race gets a point. Yep. So if I'm 2 away and Kyle's guess is 4 away, I get a point. If we tie, I guess we'll just call it a 0.
High five.
Or we could both get a point to make us feel good, so we have more gambling room for our X factor. We could do it that way.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that too. We'll do that way. We'll do that. I got to go first. So it's funny. I have my podium, but I don't have my front row, so I guess I'll probably just go off of that. Front row, this is kind of out of the box. I'm going to go Oh, this is terrible. I'm gonna go Max Charles.
That is not at all where I thought you were going.
No, I
That's
went way,
crazy.
way far with that.
Okay, give me your podium.
Kimi, George, Max.
I think you're real high on Max.
I am. This is
Homer
fanboy.
pick.
Good things are gonna happen.
We'll save our randomized finish and X factors here. I'll do mine. So front row, real safe here because I got to make up some ground for my points gap here. I'm going Kimi George. Kimi George.
I think that is the safest thing you could do.
I just think Mercedes is going to be so dominant this weekend.
Hence my podium. If Ferrari actually gets their speed and, my dreams of Max being the best all the time come true, I think quali could be a little different. I think race-wise, Mercedes takes it.
My take here is Mercedes is clearly going to look like the best car. I think Ferrari is clearly going to look like the second best car, assuming that Red Bull is abandoning their Macarena wing and they're going to lose some straight line speed. Now, who's got the third fastest car, whether that McLaren upgrade pans out or if the Red Bull downgrade to their old rear wing elevates McLaren, I don't know. I'm not going to spill those beans yet. My podium, no surprise here.
Kimi.
Yep.
George.
Yep. And
how much do you believe in McLaren? It's definitely not Lando. I was going to say Lewis, but
P3.
Man, that is just
real boring picks this week for me.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to not pick them on this track.
Yeah.
Let's do randomizer because I'm still debating my X factor.
Okay. So you're going for, we're just doing one, right? And do we both have the same number? We both get the same number.
Same number. So if it's, like I said, P7, we each pick who we think is be closest to that.
Okay. P6.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to say here, just count the best teams off. I'm going to go Piastri.
I got to big brain this because that messes with one of my X factors here. Just to be different than you, I'm going to go Max.
So sad. How dare you disrespect my driver? Too bad I wasn't like P17. I could have said Lando.
I don't think anyone other than a Merc and a Ferrari is finishing higher than P5. So.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I was counting. I'm like, okay, I'm going to eliminate top four really quick, even though my podium doesn't say that.
Okay, give me your X factor.
Lewis flop.
Okay.
What that means, though, is kind of a gray area. So we talked about earlier. We didn't say what my thing was going to be, but deciding what a flop is. I feel like we kind of have to see how the race goes.
You got to define that. Like he finishes lower than what?
Say lower than P6 is fair. Well, I can't say P5. I mean, that's a flop for a top two team, but I mean,
you're right.
Not fall flat on your face.
Just to clarify, if he gets caught out with a safety car or just has like bad luck or damage or something, does that count as a flop, or is it just a like pure
end
pace?
Of the race. End of the race. Flop.
Doesn't matter. Just that's where he
crappy
finished.
Weekend.
Okay.
So I could get super lucky, or he could have a crappy race.
Okay. Any other X factors for you?
Ooh, this one's spicy. Ready?
Yep.
Racing Bull's contact. It's bound to happen.
So, I mean, they got real. Well, technically, they had contact with Piastri and Silverstone. Is this team on team crime, or is this just
team on team?
Team on team.
Team on team crime. That's what I meant.
Okay.
I mean, if you say Racing Bulls contacts, they have Liam Lawson, bro. He's trying to elbow out anybody.
I mean, they have looked awfully close on pace, and I think if they're anywhere near each other on a track like this, there's potential for it. So I don't like it. I don't hate it. I think it's good.
You don't have to like it either. It's fine.
No, I like it. I don't hate it.
If those hit, I'm getting big points.
Okay. Well, I don't think this one counts based on our earlier conversation, but when I was planning this originally, I was going to say that Max and Oscar fight for P5. I think that's the reality of the situation and not a hot enough take to count as an X factor. So I'm self-eliminating that take.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna
defining that's
go ahead.
interesting. No, I was just saying defining that's kind of interesting. Of like,
Well, it was
you
a
could
spicy.
fight for
It was
P5
spicier
lap
before
3.
the Lando grid penalty was my take, but then the
Yeah.
Lando grid penalty came, and we talked about things earlier, and yeah, it's not
a lot.
happening.
A lot less top drivers up there.
I'm going Audi points.
Okay.
And then my second one, and I think we can argue here whether this counts as 2 or 3, or whether I want it to be 2 or 3. I'm going to say Lando starts P15 or worse. That seems probably realistic, right? Based on what we've talked about. No, yeah.
No way.
Well, so the other part of this, which is why I headed there, was that Lando's going to recover and finish in the points. So I think I'm just going to simplify it and say Lando recovery drive points.
See, I don't know if I'm going to validate this one though, because their car is good enough that he could quali fairly high, and then the midfield, like, it falls off quick to the midfield, bro. There is a very large gap.
Well, my rationale for this was Piastri got unlucky at the beginning of Silverstone, fell back, and then did not climb back up to the points. So yes, they've got a fast car and they've got pace, but he wasn't able to fight his way through the field like we would have expected.
This track has 5 straight zones.
Yeah, but they're not the only Mercedes-powered team.
I don't know. I'm like, he's gonna end up qualifying like P3 or something. He's gonna be P10 after like lap 1.
Well, if he finishes P3, then I would have lost a point because I said he starts P15 or worse. He would have started P13.
We'll take it. It's fine. We'll take it. Take
Okay,
it.
let's just make it more constricted and say he has to start above 15th and make it back into the
15th or
points.
higher.
Yep.
Recovery drive.
Yep.
There we go.
Yes, we got there in the end, boys.
There we go. I'm like, this doesn't feel fair if he has like a really good qualifying. Like if it's wet and then he's like, the top teams are gone.
Yeah, I genuinely struggled to come up with X factors this week because I feel like we're at a point in the season where we know generally where teams are at and the finishes are relatively predictable. And so pretty easily you can predict where teams are unless there's some like extreme factor like
I think that's the
or
fun
safety
of the X
car
factor.
or yeah.
Yeah, you kind of go for that like it's more so like out of pocket than trying to like leverage point, I guess, the way I look at it. Like me throwing Colapinto in for points last time was kind of like, hey, roll the dice, Colapinto's in there. I did have an X factor until we went over upgrades. I was going to say Behrman points, but they brought nothing to this weekend.
No, I don't think Haas has what it takes.
So, no. Yeah, the loose one's a gamble.
Do you want me to go spicier? I want to have 2 X factors, so if you don't think my 2 are spicy
15
enough,
or higher, I like it. I like it.
What about Audi points?
And they haven't really... I need to look at their
they finished
finishes.
in the points, but there was a couple DNFs in Silverstone.
No, I think that's fair.
Okay, we'll let it ride. I'll try to be a little spicier.
Let it ride.
For
No,
the next race.
no, it's spicy. I like the Lando one once we came up with a position. Well, how about we X-nay it though if he qualies higher than that though, like that. Like you don't lose a point.
Oh yeah. No,
like
if he starts
like
P14, it doesn't count.
okay.
He's got to be 15, 16, 17,
Cool.
whatever.
There's parameters.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Well, I'm excited for this weekend. Going to be watching a lot of racing, and yeah, we'll come back at it with a recap and talk to you guys soon.
Spa, baby, Spa. I just hope we get a banger. Super Clipping is going to be there, but I hope people just kind of. It'll probably be some yo-yoing, but I hope people get a little spicy on the straights. Maybe Eau Rouge passed by Kimi since he did that in F2 with Colapinto, which look that up, people. Kimi,
You
he's
gotta have some
bold.
serious huevos to
got some
pass
big
in Eau Rouge.
Huevos. Entering Eau Rouge, passing
Yeah.
on the inside. That kid's crazy. That's all we got. Let's enjoy the race, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.